In the 5th year of marriage, Lucien cancelled our anniversary dinner to accompany his first love, to try on wedding dresses. Someone asked him if he had to settle for marrying his first love sister, because he didn't marry her. Lucien said calmly, "I have to create a dream for myself." Everyone gossiped about what would happen if I knew about it. Lucien smiled nonchalantly, "She loves me more than herself. It will be fine if I coax her." I didn't make a fuss, hid the pregnancy test report, and took out the divorce agreement that I had prepared long ago. "Lucien, it's been 5 years. It's time to wake up from the dream." On the 5th anniversary of our marriage, I walked into the wedding dress shop with the pregnancy test report. I saw Lucien sitting there with a few friends. He asked a question. On our wedding anniversary, he tried on wedding dresses with his first love without telling his wife. Old Lou, he had a lot of fun. Lucien lazily leaned on the sofa. His voice was low, "Things have their priorities." And half an hour ago, he also told me on the phone in such a low and gentle voice that the company had to work overtime because of an emergency. "Cancel dinner first. I'll make it up to you later. Be good. Love you, my wife." Someone answered, "By Yue Guang and Fan Lizhi, how can they be compared? Everyone knows that President Liu married Shen Shiqiu because she and Ji Xiao were cousins and looked 50% similar." Another person said mischievously, "If you can't marry the elder sister, you can settle for the next best thing?" Everyone seemed to be looking forward to Lucien's answer. My hands also trembled and grasped the documents in my hands. Lucien finally spoke and said calmly, "You have to create a dream for yourself." I still remember when Lucien proposed marriage. He said, "Suqiu is Suqiu, unique. I love you, but I only love you." And 5 years after marriage, Lucien really seemed like a wife-loving maniac. Everyone envied me for marrying such a good man. But now Lucien, word by word, denied what I thought was a 5-year loving marriage. I silently put the pregnancy test report back into my bag and took out another document with my name signed. The white curtain slowly opened to both sides, revealing Yi Zhixia's figure. She had delicate makeup and a graceful figure wrapped in a fishtail dress. She smiled at Lucien. "Son, do you look good?" Lucien stood up directly, walked in front of her, and stared at her with his head down. "Zhixia, when you put on your wedding dress, no one will be more beautiful than you." The two looked at each other, as if they could only see each other in their eyes. The staff around me were also whispering, "A handsome man and a beautiful woman, this is such a perfect match." "Sister-in-law. Why is sister-in-law here?" Lucien's childhood friend turned around and saw me and was startled. The embarrassed voice reminded Lucien. He turned around and saw me and was stunned. Yi Zhixia spoke first. "Suqiu, don't get me wrong. I just returned to China and found a modeling job. Sun was worried about me being alone and came to accompany me." The staff also hurriedly explained, yes, this Miss Yi is the model we hired. She came for an interview today." I looked at Lucien. Accompanying Yi Zhixia for an interview is more important than our wedding anniversary, right? Lucien frowned. "Suqiu, can you stop imagining? Zhixia is your cousin. You also know that she just returned to China and is an A. She doesn't have many friends in the city. If I don't help her, who else can she find?" "Lucien, I heard everything you said just now, so don't hide it." My childhood friend tried to smooth things over awkwardly. "Sister-in-law, you heard it all. Brother Sun was just joking with us. He didn't mean it that way." Yi Zhixia had a subtle smile on her lips. "Qiu, let me say something harsh. If there is anything between me and Sun, will it be your turn? Even if Sun thought of you as my substitute at the beginning, you are both married. Don't make it seem like I am interfering in your marriage, okay? Yi Zhixia, never do such a mean thing." Lucien also looked at me, his eyes were cold, and his voice was hoarse. "Suqiu, be good, stop making trouble." 3. For a moment, everyone's eyes were focused on me. I slowly, step by step, walked in front of Lucien. Someone next to me made a sound. There was also a girl who came to try on the dress and rolled her eyes at me. "What do you mean by top love brain? Are you a bitch? You heard that you were being used as a substitute, but you can be coaxed by just 2 nice words?" Lucien also raised the corner of his lips and stretched out his hand to me. But the next second, his smile froze on his lips. I handed the divorce agreement to Lucien in person. Lucien looked at it for a long time. So long that I thought he couldn't see clearly because of the poor lighting in the room. So I said, "Lucien, I want to divorce you." Lucien opened his mouth but didn't say a word. He even looked a little confused. I patiently said, I'm just telling you that you can continue to accompany her and we'll talk about it when we get home. If you have any disagreement with this agreement, we can discuss it again. You want to divorce me? Lucen asked again. Before I could say anything, he said, you want to divorce me just for this little thing? Jisha and I are all in the past. Why are you still holding on to it? In the past? I smiled bitterly and didn't answer. I just moved my eyes to the wedding dress on Jisha. It was beautiful, but it looked a bit cheap. It was not as good as the diamond-studded wedding dress he customized when Lucen and I got married. I asked Lucen, do you remember the wedding dress we wore when we got married? I can't find it. Do you remember where you put it? Lucen's face changed. For the wedding photos of Lucen and I were all over the circle of friends. At that time, his company was just starting up. I gave up the high-paying offer. In his company, I took care of everything from secretary, administration, and finance. I just wanted to save him some money. During the busiest time, I was so tired that I had a fever and my bones were sore. I still forced myself to go on a business trip to help him negotiate a big deal. I know the company's financial situation very well. So when I found out that he spent more than 100,000 yuan to customize the wedding dress, I felt sorry for him and asked him to return it. Lucen smiled and comforted me. I just want Qiuqiu to be the most beautiful bride in the world. What does it matter if it costs more? On the day of the wedding photo shoot, the wedding dress didn't fit me well. The waist was a little narrow. I pretended to complain, it's all your fault for cooking for me in different ways every day. You've made me fat. Lucen touched my head lovingly at that time and said in a hoarse voice, wife, I finally married you home. I never thought at that time that the dress was originally customized for Jisha. How could something that didn't belong to me fit? Jisha and I had an average relationship and had never added each other on WeChat. After being with Lucen, I found out that his first love was my cousin. They dated for 4 years in college, but when they graduated, Jisha, who was going abroad, broke up with him. He loved her so much and was depressed for a long time after the breakup. I had a big reaction after I found out. I asked Lucen, do you think of me as a substitute? But Lucen said firmly, no, Suqiu is Suqiu, and he has never been anyone's substitute. I love you, just because you are Shen Suqiu. At that time, there seemed to be stars in his eyes, which could only hold me. How could I resist? So when we took wedding photos, I didn't doubt it. After we got married, I didn't doubt it either. Until half a year ago, Lucen suddenly went on business trips abroad frequently. I was possessed by some strange force. One night, I checked his phone. He had pinned Jisha. What caught my eye was a photo. It made me feel cold all over. I flipped up with trembling hands. The conversation between the two began with a sentence half a year ago, long time no see, are you okay? Then we started talking about everything and became more and more ambiguous. The latest day was my birthday. I still remember that day. Lucen said that he had a meeting to attend, but he took a red-eye flight back overnight. I was so distressed. Lucen kissed me on the forehead, it's my wife's birthday. I must come back to spend it with you. At that time, I thought I was the happiest woman in the world. But the time when the photo was sent was when Lucen accompanied me to blow out the candles and make a wish. In the photo, Jisha wore the wedding dress tailored for her and snuggled in Lucen's arms to take a selfie. There was an ambiguous red mark on her neck. She said, this wedding dress looks better on me or your wife, huh? So, when I closed my eyes and wished to be happy with Lucen forever, he said to another woman, priceless treasures and fakes are different after all. 5 years ago, Lucen proposed to me and said that I was not a substitute for anyone. 5 years later, in the white moonlight that he missed all the time, he said that I was just a fake. Thousands of arrows pierced my heart, but that was it. So that night, I sat in the study room facing the printed divorce agreement all night. At dawn, I signed my name. 5. Thoughts returned at this time in the bridal shop. Lucen was a little panicked. He hurriedly wiped the tears from my face. I didn't want to be so embarrassed. But at this moment, my tears still fell uncontrollably. Lucen, why did you lie to me that you were on a business trip and went to hang out with Jisha? How could you bring me a gift as if nothing had happened when you returned home? Did Jisha wearing that wedding dress make you more eager? After accompanying her, I had to rush back overnight to celebrate my birthday. Lucen, don't you think this kind of life is too hard? I was the one who questioned him, but I was also the one who cried. My heart felt like there was a big hole in it, and it hurt when the wind blew. Lu Sun was speechless. He just kept repeating in a hoarse voice, "Cho-cho, I won't sign. Things are not what you think. Calm down. Then do you want your white moonlight to continue to be the shameful third party?" I smiled sadly. "You obviously can't let her go, and you don't want to divorce me. Lu Sun, you can't have it all." Lu Sun looked like he was looking at an ignorant child, with a look of disapproval. "She is your sister. You can't embarrass her in public." Indeed, the clerks and passers-by next to him had already started whispering. Yi Jixia had completely lost her elegance and calmness just now, and her face gradually turned pale. He grabbed my wrist. "Don't let others laugh at you. Come back with me. I will explain it to you slowly. Let go." Accent. My voice and Yi Jixia's voice sounded at the same time. I turned around. Yi Jixia covered her stomach. Sweat began to ooze out of her pale face. "Son, I feel a little uncomfortable. Can you take me to the hospital? Maybe pain is contagious." Seeing Yi Jixia like this, my lower abdomen began to twitch and ache. It was as if the little life in my stomach had already felt the decision I had just made in my heart and was desperately asking for help in its own way. I took a deep breath. "Lu Sun, if you really want to continue this marriage, draw a clear line with her." Lu Sun looked struggling. But in the end, he slowly let go of my hand. "Cho-cho, your sister has not been in good health in foreign countries in recent years. Now she has stomach problems because of you. I can't just sit there and watch. Be good. Stop making trouble. Go home first, okay?" He was clearly looking at me, but his heart was completely thinking about Yi Jixia. Even though he already knew that between me and Yi Jixia, he would never firmly choose me. At this moment, all the entanglements, hesitations, and indecisions that I had experienced seemed to have left me far away. I heard my own voice clearly say, "Okay. Lu Sun, I just hope that when you know what you have lost today, you will not regret it." Lu Sun held Yi Jixia's hand and paused, without turning his head. "Suqiu, I am not someone who will be threatened.